Chris Lovell here of Lubbock-Cooper Athletics with head football coach Chip Darden. This is Pirate Talk with Coach Darden. We will be here every single week throughout the football season, and Coach, there's going to be a lot of games to play, but I'm looking forward to spending a lot of time with you throughout the season and the journey of this 2022 team. A few things we want to get out of the way first. How do we follow your team on social media? Make sure we get that out to the people out there if they want to follow your team on social media in any way.
Yeah, the best thing is our Twitter account. It's @footballlcp. That's the easiest way. We try to push a lot of content there. But I was going to say, we're here every week. You may not want it, but I hope it's through December that we get to do this every week.
I would love to be here through December. I promise you, I hope there's 15, 16 games to play and that you will win the last one. There is no doubt. Right. I will be here as much as I can for sure. And you can follow the athletics account, the general athletics account, @athleticsLCP on Twitter and Instagram. I want to make that clear. Also want to send out a special thank you to Kim Douglas. They are doing a lot of graphics and things like that for Coach Darden's football program and for coaches shows like these, and the students are doing it, and I think that's really cool. It kind of comes full circle, and I know you guys appreciate it. Students are the best resources we've got over there.
Absolutely, yeah. They do a great job. I've seen some of those graphics. They're pretty good. A lot better than I would do.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay, and one last housekeeping note. If you are going to Dumas this Friday night, or if you're going to attend any game at all the fall, whether it's at Pirate Stadium or on the road, make sure that you get tickets ahead of time, and it's cashless. You can check any of these social media accounts, and you can follow all of that and but make sure you've got a ticket on your phone. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. So follow the instructions on all the social media. I know you guys have pushed it out. We have as well on athletics accounts and stuff like that because we're going cashless. So everywhere you go, pretty much home and away, you're going to have a ticket on the phone. Okay, so with all that being said, glad to be with you, Chip, and I appreciate you guys welcoming me into this whole thing with you guys, and I'm excited to be here. I think a lot of you, and you were a big part of why I wanted to do all this, but how excited are you that football season is here, first of all?
It's the best time of year, and I think every coach says that. What makes it even better or maybe harder to get to is we do spring football. So you get a taste of it in April and May, and then all of a sudden you just cut it off for 2 months. And so I think once we're back at it, it's fine. The summer is obviously we enjoy time off and we want guys to have it, but we're also chomping at the bit to get going because we just did 15 practices of spring ball. So best time of year. The kids, I think the excitement in the school. Yesterday we did a deal with the band and. Just that time of year, I can even remember when I was in college and you walk through campus, you hear the band playing the fight song or whatever at Tech. The atmosphere in general this time of year is pretty fun.
Oh, when it's August, September-ish, and the weather, you get a little hint of weather change, and somebody's blowing an instrument or pounding on a drum or something. You hear it in the air, man. There's nothing. And you know what time it is.
Yes, sir.
You know what time it is. So last year's team. They were last year's team, and they had their own ending of their season, and there was a lot of guys on that team that played a lot of football. How did you, as you transition away from that group, and it's a group that you're going to remember for a long, long time, how did you try to let this group say, okay, they need to write their own ticket? This is a different group, and they need to have their own identity, if you will.
Yeah, one thing with that is I think we've been fortunate, even going back from when Coach Cat was the head coach, of big senior classes. So it wasn't a unique thing. I think we had 37 last year. I think right now in our roster we've got 40. So we've actually got a bigger senior class. Now, an odd thing is there were 2 in particular that played 4 years of varsity football. That's just pretty rare. But I think each year our coaches have done a good job of that. We talk about the past some, and we kind of talk to the guys this week about preseason rankings. We're using that to our advantage a little bit, but a lot of that stuff, you're on a preseason watch list, you're on all that. That's all based on last year. And so the one thing that we say is it's neat to be ranked preseason high. It's neat to be picked to win the district because they saw what you did last year. It's a reflection of last year's team. So we do honor the past in that way, but every year is a little bit different. And so I think you've got to get a good group of seniors that understands it's okay. The guys that left, we're gonna have a different mark. We're gonna maybe look different. We're gonna do things a touch different. And I think our captains, our seniors this year have really taken that and they've run with it. And our coaching staff's been a big part of that too, just making sure that we know every year's different. expectations are always the same, but we've got different guys doing it.
You mentioned spring football. Some coaches elect to jump all in there. You guys did. Some say, hey, we'd rather get that extra week in August. Take me through that dynamic of you as a coach on kind of what the benefits are, because you get, 3-4 weeks out of that, if you want to use them all?
Yeah, you get 34 days to have 18 practices if you want.
Okay.
And so
it's a lot. And
it's
they're
a
early.
lot. And we like, I think we were at about 14 this year, maybe
Okay.
15. One year we did the full 18. We don't go the full 18. But so some benefits for us, we think it's really good for our linemen. Our linemen, we can be really physical. We can do what we call good on good, varsity on varsity. There's no scout. We're getting after it. We're seeing kind of developing some linemen, we think, is a big reason that we do it. I'll tell you, there are some negatives. We push multiple sport. We want guys doing different stuff throughout the year. We don't want just football players. We want athletes. So we got a lot of guys that play baseball, a lot of guys that run track. That's going on there in spring football. So if there is a negative, I think that's it. But we just think the pros of, and we never want a kid to get injured, but if I tweak my shoulder in a drill, I can sit out. We can get it fully healthy. You're not going to miss any game time when you have that. And so sometimes I think that's what's good about spring. You can be really physical and kind of develop linemen is our main thing.
Okay. You guys have already got you've got a scrimmage under your belt, and that's part of the process too. Is went to Midland last weekend and kind of got that, see where you're at. Take me through how that was, how your staff felt like you did, and that's a team that runs an interesting offense. Sure. And just kind of take me through all those dynamics.
Yeah, we tell the kids beforehand, and they the kids make fun of me a little bit. But we call it a glorified practice. That's what a scrimmage is for us. It is a practice. We said that the way that we lose that scrimmage is we don't do things the way that LCP does it. We're out of character on stuff. We don't play hard. So we didn't do any of that. Our guys did a good job. I'll say that we were coaching staff. We never want to be too high or too low after a scrimmage. You got to evaluate and try to look at the film and just get better. But it was probably hard to not be too high. We felt good about it. We thought guys executed at a high level, especially for how far along we are, especially for playing an offense that's so different. We don't prep for a scrimmage much. We just go into it and run our stuff. So we were really pleased with the execution and how our guys played. Now, I'll say that having Midland High on the schedule somewhere was we wanted to do it this year because we've got Tascosa in district who runs very similar offense. Now they're under center, but similar type of triple option stuff. So we wanted to have it. So it was a little more important for us. It was a little that film was going to be a little more important to see what we can do better at because Tascosa's been running that for a long time, and they're a well-oiled machine at doing that. So it mattered a little bit more us going against that offense.
We have, and if you have questions for Coach Darden each week, you can email me at clevel@lcisd.net. I want to make sure I got all those letters in there. We had a sixth grader over at Lubbock-Cooper Middle School named Presley. She had some questions for Coach Darden. So
this is scary here. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, all right.
Yeah, we'll see what you do with it. These are all the water's warm here on these questions. But what makes you excited about this season and this group of players? That's the first one.
I really like our seniors. I think there's been some senior classes that we've had that are real top heavy, and then they've got a few at the top that are really, really good, get a lot of headlines, but maybe not as deep. I think this senior class is really deep. So that's the first thing. And leadership, you hope every freshman that's part of your program is a leader, every sophomore, a bunch of leaders, but you got to have senior leadership. And so I think we've got that. That probably makes me the most excited. Our depth in general, there's always a position or two that you wish you had more depth. But overall with our team, we've got about 70 guys that'll suit up that first game, 65, 70. And we feel like a lot of them can help us. And I think that makes us really excited about, week 11, week 12.
You always talk about that too, and I think people lose that. People don't think about it that way. They see the guys that are playing all the time and all that, but people don't realize how many guys have a role on a Friday night. And with coverage units, with just special teams in general, you guys put an emphasis on it, or how much depth you have on defense and guys kind of rolling in and out that Coach Lakeman will utilize. But speak to that and how you go 45 to 60, 65 deep on just a Friday night. There's a lot of guys that trot on and off the field.
No doubt. And we chart that. We'll look on Saturdays and we'll see, okay, how many guys didn't touch the field at all? how many touched the field for a special team here or there, and we kind of look at it. We try to evaluate. We try to play as many as we can. Sometimes it just doesn't happen. But no, that you're spot on with special teams, with scout team. It doesn't matter the role. If you're going to carry the ball 30 times a game, if you're going to come in, we need you to pass protect for one play. Kind of a saying that we have in the program is a lot of different roles do different things, but they're all equally important. And that's I think, I gave the example to the kids of coaches. I think most coaches want to be a coordinator. They want to call. Everybody wants to call the plays, but we got different roles. We can only have one play caller on both sides of the ball. Everybody's got to do their role, and they're all equally important.
Yeah, and if one of your coaches that's not calling plays doesn't do their role, then that's the same
100%.
thing. Yeah, that's right.
100%.
That's right. What is the team's motto this year, and what does it mean to you? I know in the past year we had Blood in the Water and a few others.
Yep. I am terrible at this. I will just
I'll
put that out there. I'm not
that.
very good at this is something Coach Cat, I tried to learn from him. He was really good at it. I was terrible. So I left it up to the captains, kind of, hey, what do you guys want it to be? We talked about apex predators a lot in the spring and kind of gave some examples I thought the kids kind of liked. But the captains decided to go away from that a little bit. Again, my idea, you can see it wasn't that good of an idea. They went with by any means, and so you'll see that hashtag sometimes BAM. But their deal was we don't really care, and kind of goes back to those roles also. Like, we don't care how we get it done. By any means, we're going to get the job done. We're going to do what's necessary, and I think it's good. I'm always like stuff that just way over my head I wouldn't have thought of, and the captains did a good job picking it.
Yeah, and I think you've got some. Let's talk about those guys real fast. You've got Cutter Douglas, you've got Coulter Lynch, you got Ty Polite, and then Landon Doris. And you got 3 guys on defense and 1 guy on offense. And people think, oh man, you graduated so many good guys on defense. There's some really good players still on this side of the ball. But talk to me about those 4 guys and captains. And how do you come up with how do they get picked? I mean, is that by their peers?
Yeah. So captains are all peers. We try to do it at the end of spring football. The guys that play baseball, it's a little tougher, which to me tells you a little bit about Cutter Douglas, who wasn't involved in spring ball because our baseball went so far, and he still gets voted as a captain even though he's not there every single day. But obviously that's his history, his leadership that he's had on this team for the last few years. But 100% player voted. There's a standard for the captains. Like there's the ability for us coaches to take it away if they're not living up to the standard, which is exactly what these guys want. They may not know it, but they want a high standard like that. But no, they're picked. I think what's interesting to me is all 4 of them are front 7 guys. They're interior guys, and if anybody that's watched us or seen us, they know the brand of football we want to play. We want to run the ball. We're going to stop the run and play defense, and we think that's winning combination. And so having 2 defensive linemen, an inside linebacker, and an offensive lineman, I think just to me it personifies exactly what we want to be. And those are the guys we want out there leading us.
Big uglies, man.
No doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I'm going to say they're ugly. I
well,
don't
you
have
know
any
what I'm
room to
saying.
talk.
That's just a phrase.
No doubt.
There's some good kids in that group too.
Sure
I know Cutter and Ty, and obviously I've just met Landon. I've gotten to talk to Coulter some. Just unbelievable kids, as much as anything.
I use the phrase a lot of times. Guys will hear me say program guys, and it's sometimes hard to explain. I mean, Coulter has been here just over a year. He just moved in, but I still feel like all 4 of those guys are program guys. The by any means is perfect for them. They'll do whatever. Coulter's moving a position this year. Ty has played a ton of positions throughout his career. They'll do whatever for the program, whatever we need. They will do it. They don't ask questions about it, and that's exactly what you want with your captains.
What are a few players? We just talked about some captains. What are a few players you expect to make a big impact on the team this year? Well, let's go with some skill guys that we haven't touched on, and I think that's what people are going to be really enjoy watching this team. Is there's so many guys on either side of the ball that are the back end on the secondary or just skill guys on offense. There's so many guys that can hurt you.
Yeah, and that was going back to the scrimmage. A big positive. Football now is just different. Like, you can look at first downs, average yards per game, all that stuff. Well, it doesn't really matter to us. But if you look at our scrimmage, one thing that we thought offensively was we've made some big plays. And that's football nowadays. You got to make big plays. And so our receiving core was a big part of that. You got some seniors that have played a lot of football: Cooper Morris, Hayden Brooks, Braden Laws. Those are seniors that have played a lot of football, made a lot of big plays. Defensively, same. Carson Bradshaw, I think, is going to have he had a quiet junior year, like quietly had a really good year. He came to us late, just some stuff. Anyway, just had some stuff going on. So kind of started the season against Friendship last year and had kind of a quiet junior year. But he's going to have a big year. But the big plays for us is going to be something that we've got to do. We've got to have big plays. And then in the backfield, Caden Chambers. He played some big minutes last year, and I think had a really good start to the season. So that's just naming a few. I know I could name off a whole lot of guys, but those are the guys that we feel like will be the leaders and kind of get us going.
So, and good job, Presley, by sending us those questions.
No
that was a good job, Presley. Keep doing your thing and send us more if you've got them. Quarterbacks, everybody wants to know about that. We haven't talked about any of that. You kind of went through a battle with whatever you want to say, and so we don't let Dumas know what's going on. But, I mean, you had 3 or 4 guys going through the battle and some really good options for you. And I think a lot of guys saw action in Midland. So, what does that position look like for you guys?
We liked in Midland, we liked that they all performed well, too.
Very impressive.
And no turnovers out of the group, and we threw the ball quite a bit. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but really, really proud of those guys. The quarterback position gets the stigma of a controversy and all that stuff, but there's 70 guys on our roster and there's 22 guys that'll be starters. Like it's happening all over the field. But what I like about those 3, they all bring a little bit different. And we're talking about Bryce LeBlanc, Tyler Spruill, Cade Bullen. I mean, they all bring something a little bit different. They're all 3 ultra competitive, and they look a little bit different. A couple of them, their emotions, they wear them on their sleeves. Others are internal, but they're very competitive, multiple sport guys. So we think we can win with all 3, and we'll trot one out there on Friday, and I think he'll do a good job. But I think we've also got 2 guys that are ready to roll if they need to.
Does Chip Darden ever have a bad day? What's that look like in your world?
Oh, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
I've never seen it. I mean, because you deal with it, and I was talking to Coach Hill recently, volleyball head coach, and she's moved into the head coach job, and it's a lot different than when you're the assistant. You are dealing with a lot, and you're also kind of taking on some extra duties this year. But I mean, I don't think people realize how many things coming your way or the things you're dealing with on a daily basis, and you're just trying to get a first down. Yeah. I mean, that's at the end of the day, you really keep my guys healthy, try to get a first down, get out of there on a Friday night, enjoy it, be a good dad, and all that stuff. And meanwhile, it's just drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah, a lot of it, to me, the bad days, a lot of it, that stuff it's fine. It's part of it. The bad days to me involve the kids, and I'm talking our football kids, them having stuff going on, and then like you said, my family. It is tough. I got 3 little ones. My wife's doing everything right now, school, getting them ready for school every day, and I don't feel like I help a whole lot. So a lot of times the bad days revolve around that. But no,
I get it.
It's I also think it's the cliche word or phrase, whatever, but happiness is a choice. I mean, I think somebody's probably got it worse than I do somewhere, I imagine. So we're gonna try to be positive.
Your glass is always half full. I appreciate that. What is Chip Darden's favorite pregame routine?
And I'm just a little stitious. I don't know that I'm superstitious. Just got a little bit of it, but I do things a lot the same on a game day. But number one, this started back when Coach Sexton was a defensive coordinator. I was on the defensive side of the ball. Brad Winchie, a lot of guys that coached with, that learned from. But we always listened to Dwight Yoakam before the game. And so a lot of times that was on the bus. We'd get there, the kids would get off, and we'd stay on the bus listening to Dwight Yoakam. So no matter what my playlist is now before the game, I have to have some D-White on there.
I love it. Yeah. See, this is what we're here for. We're here. This is the goods. That and I do know this, chicken a la mer is one of your favorite dishes,
too. Oh, man.
If
anybody,
Jazz
the best
Cafe.
meal is at Jazz. And I'm a food guy. I like food, but you got to get it with noodles though. Chicken a la mer with noodles.
See, I always do the rice, but I heard you. I saw an interview you did this summer, and I made sure to mention that or write that down.
The real deal.
Dwight Yoakam, that's your tidbit right there. So when we get you an autographed 8x10 or something, you can hang
last year he came to town last year, and we had a JV game in Wichita Falls, so I didn't get to go. I was disappointed.
33-6, and this is now, what is this, your 4th year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, how do you keep from getting complacent?
Well, we 2 things. one is every coach says it, but we're not motivated by wins and losses. I mean, we obviously want to. I want to win a state championship for our guys, for our community, be fun. But if that motivates you, I think you're going to be disappointed more often than not. As a player, as a coach, even as a fan, there's a bigger picture to it. But then number two, I didn't win those games. I mean, I hadn't won one of them, and I would say I probably lost some of them for us. I mean, it's the kids, and I think there's an element that everybody's involved, from administration to cleaning staff to every coach to teachers. Everybody's involved, but ultimately, the 70 kids that come out there, it's their deal, and so they've won those games, and it's been fun to be a part of, and that's kind of what I tell our guys. I enjoy being a part of what they are doing. And so there's no complacency with me. It's every day. Every day's new. Every day's a chance to be better myself, be better for the guys, be better for my wife, all that stuff. And if complacency hits, I think I'm in the wrong business, and I need to find something else to do.
I could ask you so many different things, but I want to make sure that we do ask you about. There's been a lot written and a lot expected of this offensive line. It's a unique situation in that it's an impressive group on paper. Take me through that, and Coach Hayes coaching them, and just kind of all those dynamics with it, because you've got some really good players up front.
Yeah, Colton just asked me before, what's the average weight of that offensive line? Is it about 250? And I got my phone out. Just rough estimate, I had it at like 280 average. And I hope we have this big offensive line again, but I just doubt we'll ever coach one that's this big. And then you've got Coach Hayes and Coach Darden, my younger brother, that like they are well coached, and so I just think that's a combination that we're leaning on them a lot, and we're going to lean on them all year. We want to run the football, and they want. It's funny when we go to the sideline in games. This has been for a few years. And a lot of times it might be planned, whatever, but we'll go to those old linemen. What pass play do y'all want to run? And they just, no. We want, they want to run a run play. They want to go block somebody. Yeah. But that's the mentality that they've got. But at the same time, there's other guys. I mean, you're going to look at those starters, and I think we've got some seniors that have really taken a step. You're going to see guys like Hunter Johnson that he kind of emerged last year, had a really good year. Braden Fenner, you talk about program guys, he is it to a T. And then we already mentioned Coulter, but those are three seniors that, man, they have played a lot of football. They will do whatever's asked of them, and I think we got a chance. And, I mean, I don't know. I look at any football team, and I start reading preseason stuff or listening to ESPN talking about the Cowboys. Well, their offensive line's an issue. Like, to me, I immediately go, well, they're not going to have a very good year. I think a whole lot of a team's success revolves around the offensive line.
And I bet there's a lot of coaches, if you said I could pick one group that I needed to be really, really good, and I'll kind of worry about the rest of them, but a lot of coaches would start with that group because it masks a lot of deficiencies.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So let's hope those guys stay healthy, and Holton Hendricks and Caden Carr, a couple of the other ones. I'm not sure if I've seen a bigger high school football player in person that played than Caden Carr. He is enormous.
Those two, him and Holton on the same side, they can move some bodies.
That's right. Yeah, and Holton's such a good kid. His parents are great. I mean, I'm big fan of, and you mentioned Fenter. He's a guy that people kind of, I don't want to say forget about, but he gets lost in some, and he shouldn't, because he's got some college opportunities.
He does.
And really, really good kid. So I'll just throw you some random questions here. The last movie that you saw in a theater was what?
Man, my wife loves going to movies. I'm not a movie guy.
So we talking a year ago?
No, yeah, we did go. We did go see the new Top Gun.
There you go.
Yeah, we saw it. It was good.
Yes.
It was really good. Yeah. If they're all like that, I'll go see them. But they're not. That's a pretty good one, though.
That's a movie you have to see in the theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can't try to.
And I had enough nostalgia, like from the old one. It was well done. Very well done.
Speaking of nostalgia and just kind of interesting scenes and all that, you guys have been up to Dumas before, and it's. I think it's going to be fun. But it's going to be interesting too. They care a lot about it. I've heard about flaming pitchforks. I've heard about a crop duster. I've heard about Harley Davidson surrounding the field before. I mean, take me through what you're expecting.
Oh man, it'll be wild. They love football there. Somebody was saying that the other day. Like that's all they got up there. They play football. So, but man, that time we went up there, I believe that was the 2015 season.
Okay.
Jarrett Dagey, who some people know, was a junior quarterback on that team, first round playoff game. I was in the press box, and this press box, you're going to get a taste of it. Isn't the best, but it's okay. It works. Yeah. But it's not very high, and so we're sitting there, and I think they're about to do the national anthem, or maybe they had just done it. And I remember standing up there, and all of a sudden, a crop duster spraying orange. We don't know what. It felt like it was at eye level. I don't know where it was, but that's what it felt like. It was at eye level. It scared me so bad. It got the nerves out. I wasn't nervous anymore. It was like, man,
we survived.
We survived it. That was a big win. I think that was a big win for our program in general. We going up there and beating them. And then 2 years later, they had to return the favor in the playoffs. They were 9-1, and we beat them at our place in a crazy game. And anyway, those two were big wins because they have so much tradition. I think they've won 5 straight district championships and 19 straight maybe district games, and a lot of tradition there. They play good football. It's going to be a battle Friday.
And speaking of streaks, I mean, you guys haven't been on the road since I think 2018 or so, or even 17 to open up a season. Last time was Andrews. It's been 5 or 6 years. Just kind of mixed it up a little bit, just the way it worked out.
Just the way it worked out. Andrews was supposed to come to us the COVID year, and we picked up some. Yeah, that kind of messed it all up. But I do think that's one thing that's good about us going to Midland last week is now, and a lot of it's on the coaches. But we forgot this or forgot that. Oh yeah, we need to assign this, and so hopefully we're prepared for it. But there's always somebody's going to forget their girdle, and they'll get yelled at by me, and then they'll be fine.
Well, I hope you survive this one. This was episode 1. We'll be back next week, and we'll talk about, I don't know, there's some game next week at Pirate Stadium against Friendship. So
next game on the schedule.
That's right. Next game on the schedule. That's right. Well, Coach, good luck against Dumas. I appreciate you doing this with us. And if you have any questions for him, make sure you email me. And
thanks, Presley.
Yeah, there you go. She did a good job. So we appreciate it. Good luck Friday night.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
There he is.